This episode of SpectreSoundStudios is brought to you by DistroKid. Get your music online and out to the world. Hey everybody, how's it going? So, after running the studio for 20 years, I've learned that one of the biggest reasons that so many people don't find success in the music business is because they work against their own goals. Lack of initiative, failure to prioritize, and walking away when things become difficult are all huge roadblocks to success. But that's not why we're here today. We're here to look at those that go out of their way to screw themselves before they even get started. It's been far too long since we've had an episode, so get ready. Here's stupid musician texts.
What up, bro?
Not much. You said you have a song you'd like me to mix?
Yeah, but just the lyrics.
Huh?
Yeah.
Mixing means I take your recorded tracks, vocals, instruments, and make it into like what you'd hear on a CD.
I know. I will forward it when it's recorded.
I guess I'm not understanding. What do you mean by just the lyrics?
I'm a songwriter. I haven't written the song, but haven't recorded it.
Do you have backing instruments yet even?
Nope.
I appreciate your interest. Get back to me once you have something I can actually work with!
Okay, obviously the guy is just starting out, and yes, we all need to start somewhere, but come on! You gotta be extra special stupid to think your lyrics are enough. Next up, let's check out this band recruitment ad.
Looking for vegan rock musicians. We are creating the next big thing in music to hit this planet. There is no meaningful rock today for the young that discusses the issues of the world that has been left to them. There's actually not much rock for the youth, period. Kids today are listening to the rock their parents listen to. The world needs a heavy metal band that raises the voice of the young to spread awareness to society of the changes that have to be made because of the destruction that has been created. The youth are our future, exactly why they are the audience to capture. Why do we want vegans? Because vegans understand the magnitude of the problem and that veganism needs to be the future in order to save our planet, and who better to inform the youth than someone they idolize? We're looking for vegan musicians and vocalists between 18 and 24 years of age who have the capacity for this genre of music and talent at a high enough level to record. The goal is to write and record and play local events, but send the demo to Ellen for exposure, as she is a great supporter of the issues. Please send the following information: name, age, sex, instrument, vocals, how long you've been vegan, do you have an interest in political, religious, or environmental issues. Please include a recording or your links you have for YouTube. Good luck, vegan rocks! Negative emails will thankfully not be necessary.
Yeah, the Ellen Show. That's where all the metal bands get their big break. What the hell happened? Bands used to aspire to play the Whiskey, the Roxy, Harpo's in Detroit, CBGB's in New York. If you wonder why kids are listening to the rock their parents listen to, it might have something to do with the fact that you're aspiring to be on the Ellen Show. Look, I've got no issue with people who want to be vegan. That's fine. But try and get it through your thick skull. It's sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Not political correctness, safe spaces, and network talk shows. You are never gonna piss off anyone's parents with that attitude, mister. By the way, I can't write a transition to save my life, so let's talk about the Axe FX 3.
Axe FX 2, $21.50. Axe FX 2, $2100. Axe FX 2, $19.99. $18.90. $1,800.
I wonder when these guys are going to realize that Fractal is selling the Axe FX 2 XL Plus units for $1,800 brand new.
Actually, the price on that model dropped all the way down to $16.99, but I'm sure there are plenty of kids just dying to pay $2,000 for the one you used. All right, before we move on, I'd like to ask that if you enjoy the series, please hit that subscribe button and notification bell so I can continue to piss off bass players the world over. Now, speaking of pissing off musicians, here's a drummer that sounds like he'll be an absolute joy to work with in the studio.
Making the drummer change their setup is a cop-out. As a drummer, I rehearse for a project with my setup the way it works best. Making the drummer change their setup for placing a mic screws up the player. The musicians come to the studio trying to keep themselves psyched up and in the zone to perform well. An engineer changing that up at the last minute stresses the musician and adds a new element to what they need to focus on. Getting the sound and levels right is not the musician's problem. It is the responsibility of the engineer to figure it out. So, raise the hats is not a viable answer if you are good at what you do.
Okay, so after doing this for 2 decades, I will pass on a very interesting little tidbit. I'll say it slowly so even that Neanderthal can understand. The greatest studio musicians in the world never complain. They understand that working in the studio means working together with the engineer towards a common goal. And if they're difficult to work with, they might not be called back. Look, engineers need to place mics. Whining about it isn't going to change that fact. Maybe spend just a little more of your time practicing your instrument instead of wasting it complaining about the mean recording engineer on Facebook. And we wonder why so many records replace the drummer with samples these days.
I found a guy who wants to master my tracks, but he looks a bit unprofessional. I am not sure if that matters much.
Did you listen to his previous works?
No, not yet. Should I?
Yes. How do you know how good he is if you don't listen to his works?
True.
Okay, general rule of thumb. If you're going to check out a studio for recording, mixing, or mastering, maybe think about listening to their work first before making up your mind. Hey everybody, this episode is sponsored by DistroKid, my absolute favorite service to put music out to online retailers like iTunes, Amazon, Google Play, and Spotify, plus 150 smaller online music retailers as well. It only costs $20 a year and you keep 100% of your earnings. DistroKid also has lots of cool features, including instant verification on Spotify and change your image on Apple Music and iTunes. What's more is that they've got a new feature that lets you add credits and liner notes to stores and streaming services. You can now list musicians, contact info, social media profiles, and hundreds of other roles. They've also got the Teams function, which allows you to split your earnings automatically among your bandmates, and a cover song license only costs $12 a year. I use DistroKid to put my music out to the world, and it saves me so much hassle. If you've got a band, you really need to check it out. Go to distrokid.com/VIP/Spectre today and you can grab yourself a 7% discount. I'll put the link in the description below. Now back to the show. You know, I really do appreciate the feedback I get from you guys, especially from the people who contact me directly to whine like a little bitch about my show.
Hey, Glenn, seriously, lay off the bass thing. If you actually play music, you would get it. You're an engineer. We have the skill. You just hit play, pause, blah, blah. Windsor, Ontario. Yeah, never heard of that town.
Aw man, you can't miss it. There are 2 cities on the Detroit River. The crappy one and then Detroit.
So, perhaps a lot of shitty-ass music-related pupult there. Stupid engineer moments, should I start that?
Yes, please start Stupid Engineer Moments. I really want to see that. And you should be able to gather enough material for an episode in about, 30 years. Oh, but the fan mail doesn't stop there. Check this out.
Oh shit, you went to NAM? Go kick Glenn Fricker in the balls for me.
I'll be there tomorrow as well. The show just ended at 6 p.m.
Lol. Why? Glenn is the man.
I know, we'll be praising his balls with our feet. Also, she is a bass player, so maybe she wished to kick him anyway.
Yeah, give him a good swift kick for all of us bassists.
You know, they actually came after me at NAMM. It was no problem though. I escaped the same way I always do when confronted by an angry mob of bass players. I hid behind an unlocked glass door.
Don't see ST as a way of becoming famous, it's a ministry at heart. We're here to witness to the metalheads. We're doing a service for God, not for money.
We can do both.
No, we can't. You cannot serve 2 masters. You cannot serve God and money. Straight from the Bible. We need to see this as a way of leading people to God. Money will come later. For now, it's straight ministry while playing death metal. You're not quite understanding what I'm saying. God says we cannot serve God and money. Doesn't matter if we're signed or not. Doesn't mean we'll live in poverty. God will provide for us. If you go into it with the thoughts of money, God will not honor us. If we go into it with the meaning of leading others to God, God will honor us. And we will provide us with enough money as well as everything we'll need. He will provide us with satisfaction and happiness. Know what I'm getting at? And He will provide. Okay, good. Never lose sight that ST is a ministry. We're just as much of a ministry as these big name pastors, except we're witnessing to a different crowd. We're witnessing to metalheads who need God. Nearly all metalheads aren't Christians. Why? Because they think the idea of God is dorky, while ST has a tight sound. So we need to show them that Christian bands are just as good as secular bands.
I feel you, man.
Whoa, hold on a second. You can't serve God and money? Oh man, are you ever doing it wrong? It's worked out great for Pat Robertson, Jerry Falwell, Peter Popoff, and a whole bunch of other witch doctors, because a lot of people will believe just about anything. Metalheads, maybe not so much. Now, I can't speak for anyone but myself, but I don't find the idea of a god dorky. I just find the outrageous claims of miracles with zero evidence to back them up to be just a little bit far-fetched. Still though, I am curious of how this god of yours provides. Is that a 401k? Are dental and prescriptions part of God's plan? What about pensions? You're saying He'll provide everything we need. I don't know. It's a little short on details. Okay, now speaking of poor planning, check out this band Magic Carpet and how they decided to redecorate the bar that they were playing. Yeah, real smart, guys. Let's all act like a bunch of rock stars and destroy the place. Now, apparently you guys were too stupid to realize the simple truth. The reason why bands like Led Zeppelin and The Who could get away with outrageous behavior, like driving a Rolls Royce into a swimming pool or throwing TVs out of hotels, is because they were world-famous bands with near unlimited budgets. They had the money and the legal team to cover for any damages that they cause. You guys are just a bunch of morons. You've managed to blacklist yourself and short-circuit any success from ever happening. Way to go. And yes, I would like fries with my order. Now get to it. Okay, now the one type of comment I love getting are the defiant mic cuppers. You know, the people who you show irrefutable evidence to that bad mic technique equals bad sound, and they still insist they know better, like this guy.
If you legitimately complain about vocalists who hold the mic or cup the mic, you have no actual idea of what you're talking about.
Yeah, no idea of what I'm talking about. In fact, this next conversation really takes me to school on the subtleties of jamming a microphone into your mouth.
Cupping a 7B doesn't affect the sound like it does on other mics. Learn your shit and stop worshiping that asshole from SpectreStudios. Ha ha.
Thanks, dude. I was about to write the exact same message, but show me what you got. Not a condenser, it's a dynamic.
Yes, fuckface, some of the stuff he says are so specific and people think it's gospel. He's just a standard sound engineer in an amateur studio. Like he gives some good advice, but shit!
Glenn Fricker is an asshole, but he still seems to be right about a lot of stuff.
Cupping a 7B doesn't affect the sound like other mics? Really? I don't know if I'm convinced, man. I mean, you all know my opinion, but apparently it's not valid because I'm a standard sound engineer in an amateur studio. Well, all right then. Let's ask an expert. In fact, let's ask Shure Microphones directly.
What do you think about somebody who cups an SM7?
Okay, that's a loaded question. I mean, I think you're lovely, but just please, just don't cup the mic. Just PSA for everybody, just don't cup the mic.
It's not going to sound good. What you call unconventional, the rest of us call sounds like shit.